Okay, for number 4, it says the diagram shows 5 identical bowls stacked one inside of the other. The height of one bowl is 2 inches, and the height and stack of 5 bowls is 5 inches. You needed to write an equation using x and y to find the height of the bowl, to find the height of a stack of bowls based on any number of bowls. Well, I actually looked at part B first, and I said, well, what would x and y stand for? We know that we're talking about the number of bowls and the height, so I went ahead and I let x equal the number of bowls, and y was the height of the bowl. So when I look back at part A, I actually know that I have 2 ordered pairs. One bowl is 2 inches, so that gives me the ordered pair 1, 2. 5 bowls is 5 inches, so that's the ordered pair 5, 5. So if I'm going to write an equation, I first need to find the slope, because every equation is y equals mx plus b. Remember, to find your slope, it's m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I have my x1, y1, and my x2, y2. So I went ahead and I did 5 minus 2 over 5 minus 1, which is just 3/4. So then I picked an ordered pair. I chose 2, 1. So for y, I made it 2 equals my m, which is just 3/4, times x, which is 1, plus b. So you get 2 equals 3/4 plus b. Subtract 3/4. 2 minus 3/4 is 1 1/4 equals b. So your equation is just y equals 3/4 x plus 1 1/4. So then, when you get to part C, what's the height in inches of a stack of 10 bowls? You know your equation is y equals 3/4 x plus 1 1/4. So I just went and plugged 10 in for x. So you have y equals 3/4 times 10 plus 1 1/4. 3/4 times 10, you're going to get 30 over 4 plus 1 1/4. And when you add those two together, you end up with 8 3/4. So it's 8 3/4 inches tall. Okay, for number 5, Hector's family's on a car trip. When they're 84 miles from home, Hector begins recording the distance they have driven D in miles after H hours as shown in the table. Because D and H are given, you cannot use X and Y. So we have here a bunch of ordered pairs. We're going to write an equation to find the distance in miles. So I went ahead and I chose 2 of the ordered pairs. I chose 0, 84, which this actually is the y-intercept as well, because it's 0, 84 and 1, 148. So let's go ahead and let's find the slope. We know m is 140, I'm sorry, this is a 6. 146 minus 84 over 1 minus 0. So you get 62. And we know that 84 is the y-intercept. So my equation y equals mx plus b is simply y equals 62x plus 84. However, we can't use x and y because we're given the d and the h. So we know that y was really d, x was really h. So your answer is just d equals 62h plus 84. For part B, Hector kept track of the remaining gasoline. The equation shown below can be used to find the gallons of gasoline remaining, G, after driving a distance of D miles. Use the equation to find the missing values. Well, all you needed to do was substitute these values in for D. So when I substitute these values in, you would first have G equals 16 minus 1/20 times 100, and that's going to give you 11. G equals 16 minus 120, 1/20th times 200, which gives you 6. G equals 16 minus 1/20th over 300 times 300, and that's going to give you 1. Part C says to draw a graph of the line formed by the points in the table. So I went ahead and I plotted, I looked back and I had 100, 11, 200, 6, and then 300, 1. So I did 300, 1 would be about right there. 111, about right there. 206. And then we knew that it started out with 16 gallons in the tank. So I knew that my y-intercept was 16. So I just went ahead then and connected. And I just went down to there. I didn't put an arrowhead once I hit the x-axis because now you're out of gas. Explain why the slope of the line you drew in part C must be negative. I wrote, as you drive, you use gas and have less gas remaining. Thus, the data has a negative correlation. Okay. Number 6. It says, last summer, Ben purchased materials to build model airplanes and then sold the finished models. He sold each model for the same amount of money. The table shows the relationship between the number of models he sold and the total running profit. Write a linear equation in slope-intercept form, so we know that's y equals mx plus b, to represent the amount of his profit y, so y represents the profit, based on the number of airplanes x. So I picked two ordered pairs, 12, 68, and then 15, 140, and found my slope. So we know m is 140 minus 68 over 15 minus 12. So you get 72 over 3, which is 24. So now we have to find our y-intercept. So m, we know is 24, and I use the ordered pair 12, 68. So using y equals mx plus b, I did 68 equals 24 times 12 plus b. So 68 equals 288 plus b. Subtract your 288, and you get negative 220 equals b. So your equation's y equals 24x minus 220. For part B, it says determine a value of x that represents a situation where he did not make a profit. So we know y is 24x minus 220. So if I think about it, x is the number of airplanes. If he sells 10 airplanes, you'd have 240, because 24 times 10 minus 220. So you'd have 240 minus 220, which is $20. That is a profit. But if you used 9, you'd have 24 times 9 minus 220, and then 24 times 9 is 216 minus 220, which that's going to be a negative number of -4. That's not a profit. If you plug any number in less than 9, you're going to get a negative value for its profit, which means that x could be 9 or less airplanes. Now, you could have just written 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 because it says determine a value. How much did he spend on materials? Well, we know that profit equals revenue minus expenses or cost. Well, since it's 24x minus 220, 220. We know that the 220 was the expenses. What's the least number of model airplanes that Ben needed to sell in order to make a profit? Well, we actually did that when we were doing Part B. The least number is 10